All right, so you've got this stack of papers for unQuestionable LLC staring you down. Business plan, the marketing roadmap, the whole shebang.
The whole 9 yards.
We're going to help you cut through all that and figure out, is this creative agency about to take Moorhead by storm, or are they all hype?
And will their plans for expansion to Fargo be as unquestionable as their name, right?
Okay, so to get us started, unQuestionable LLC is all about offering the works for businesses looking to up their creative game. We're talking branding, we're talking design, media production.
They even have these branches called Unquestionable Studio and Unquestionable TV.
Which already has me curious.
What's interesting here is that they're trying to tap into a real sweet spot in the market. So many agencies are either huge and expensive, or they're just starting out and a little rough around the edges. Unquestionable seems to be going for that Goldilocks zone, targeting businesses who need more than a freelancer can offer, but they're not ready to hire a big agency.
Makes sense, especially with so many smaller businesses popping up these days. But can we talk about the slogan for a sec?
Oh yeah.
Standout branding, strategic media, quality engagement, relax. It's unquestionable. I mean, points for confidence.
It's definitely memorable.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. But you're right, it does feel a tad forceful. Like I'm supposed to be reassured, but instead I'm wondering what problems they're trying to preemptively solve.
Exactly, almost like they're trying too hard. Okay, let's look past the slogan and dig into what they're actually offering. One thing that jumps out is how they've structured their pricing. They've got these tiered packages for their logo design services, which is pretty standard.
Yeah.
But they're sweetening the deal in a way I haven't really seen before.
I see what you mean. That elite package, for example, it's a hefty $5,000 price tag, but they're throwing in a $250 voucher for First Avenue promo.
Oh, wow.
That's not just about getting a logo, it's about getting your brand in front of a targeted audience.
And that's smart for a couple of reasons. First, it makes that higher price point a little easier to swallow, especially for a business owner who's already thinking about marketing and promotion. But second, it subtly positions unQuestionable as more than just designers.
Right.
They're strategic partners. They're saying, we don't just want to make you a logo, we want to help you grow. It's like they're thinking 2 steps ahead of what a business might need.
Exactly, and that ties into their whole pricing structure. They've got these tiers for everything.
Oh, really?
From basic website design all the way up to full e-commerce solutions and product photography. It shows they're trying to be a one-stop shop for businesses at different stages of growth.
Speaking of different stages, did you see they're offering live streaming packages? That feels kind of unexpected for a local agency.
Yeah, and they're even doing mobile setups.
Well, yeah.
That's a really smart move, given their target market. Think about it.
Yeah.
Local musicians, small theaters, businesses hosting events.
Right.
Those are all potential clients who might not have the budget for a fancy studio, but still want to reach a wider audience online.
It's like they're tapping into this whole other level of content creation that most local agencies aren't even touching.
And the fact that they're willing to go mobile with it gives them a real competitive edge. It's that kind of flexibility that smaller businesses really appreciate.
So they're clearly aiming to stand out from the crowd, and their marketing plan is, well, let's just say it's ambitious. Daily office hours, live streams before they even launch. That's a bold move.
It's risky, for sure. That's a huge time commitment, and it's not guaranteed to translate into paying clients.
Right.
But if they can consistently deliver valuable content and build a strong online community,
It could create a ton of buzz and position them as the go-to experts in the area. But even beyond the live streams, the sheer volume of content they're planning is mind-boggling. Blog posts, tutorials, Twitter chats, it's like they're trying to be everywhere at once.
it's a classic case of go big or go home marketing. The potential upside is huge, but they're walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
They'll need to be incredibly disciplined to avoid burnout and maintain the quality of their content.
And they're doing all of this on a shoestring budget, at least initially.
That's where their local focus really comes into play. Partnering with other businesses, sponsoring events, collaborating with musicians, those are all cost-effective ways to reach their target audience.
Definitely a smarter approach than sinking a ton of money into traditional advertising.
Absolutely, it shows they understand the importance of building genuine relationships within their community. They're not just trying to sell something, they're trying to become a valuable part of the local ecosystem.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better about some of their other choices, like the merch strategy.
Uh-huh.
It's not bad, but it feels a bit tacked on.
You're right, it's not their main focus. It seems more like they're testing the waters, maybe seeing if there's enough demand to justify expanding that side of the business later on.
Which makes sense when you consider how much they're already taking on, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. Their financial projections. They're projecting to hit 6 figures in revenue by year 3. That's optimistic.
It is ambitious, especially considering how much they're relying on donations during those live streams. There's incredibly unpredictable income.
Right. It's one thing to factor in a few $100 here and there, but to base your entire revenue model on it seems risky.
Exactly. And while they do have a risk management section in their business plan, it's a bit vague. They acknowledge the challenges, but the mitigation plans are, well, let's just say they could use a bit more fleshing out.
It's like they know the risks are there, but they're so focused on the positive that they're not really grappling with how to handle potential roadblocks.
It's a common pitfall for startups. Enthusiasm is essential, but it needs to be tempered with a healthy dose of realism.
So we've got a bold vision, a smart approach to the market, and a whole lot of hustle, but can they actually pull it off?
That, my friend, is the million-dollar question. And the answer, unfortunately, is not as simple as a yes or no. It all comes down to execution.
Which is where things get really interesting, because even with a solid plan, there are always going to be curveballs.
And unseen factors that can make or break a business. Think about it. You've got this stack of documents, but they only tell part of the story.
What are some of those unseen factors that you're talking about?
Well, for starters, how are they planning to measure the impact of their AI tools? That's something they mention in their materials, but they don't really delve into the specifics.
That's a really good point. Are they using AI to streamline their workflow, to generate creative ideas, or something else entirely? And how do they know if it's actually making them more effective?
Without a clear way to track their results, they're essentially flying blind. They might think they're being innovative, but they won't know if those innovations are actually translating into a return on investment.
And then there's the question of competition. The creative industry in Fargo-Moorhead is surprisingly crowded. How are they planning to set themselves apart in a sea of other agencies?
That's where their niche focus could really pay off. If they can become known as the go-to agency for smaller businesses in the area, they'll have a leg up.
But maintaining that focus might get tougher as they grow. They could be tempted to chase bigger clients or expand their services too quickly, and that can sometimes lead to a loss of identity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Staying true to their initial vision while also being adaptable to changing market conditions, that's the real challenge.
So it sounds like we've got a classic case of potential meets uncertainty. They've got a lot of great ideas, but the big question is, can they execute?
And can they execute sustainably? Because short-term success is one thing, but building a business that can stand the test of time, that's a whole other ballgame.
It's like they're standing at the edge of a diving board and they've got all the right moves, but whether they nail the landing, only time will tell.
And that's what makes all of this so fascinating. You've had this sneak peek behind the curtain. You've seen their plans and their aspirations. Now it's up to you to decide. Do you buy into the vision of unQuestionable LLC?
Well, there you have it. unQuestionable LLC. Are they about to become a household name or fade into obscurity? We'll be keeping our eyes peeled and our ears to the ground to see how this all unfolds. Make sure you're following along because you don't want to miss it. Until next time, happy deep diving.